Welcome to the video. Today we are going to show you some rare photos of Ted Bundy that most of the people have not seen. Before we start the video, I will tell you shortly about who Ted Bundy was. Ted Bundy, or Theodore Robert Bundy as his full name is, was born November 24th in Burlington, Vermont, USA, and was executed January 24th, 1989, Stark, Florida. Ted Bundy was an American serial killer and rapist, one of the most notorious criminals of the late 20th century. Bundy had a difficult childhood. He had a strained relationship with his stepfather, and his shyness made him a frequent target of bullying. Later, however, his intelligence and social skills enabled him to enjoy a successful college career, and he developed a series of apparently normal emotional relationships with women. Despite this apparent stability, he sexually assaulted and killed several young women in Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Utah, and Florida between 1974 and 1978. Although he would ultimately confess to 28 murders, some estimated that he was responsible for hundreds of deaths. Following a well-publicized trial, he was sentenced to death in 1979 for the murder of 2 college students. In the following year he again was sentenced to death, this time for the rape and murder of a 12-year-old girl. Bundy was executed in Florida's electric chair in 1989. Despite the appalling nature of his crimes, Bundy became something of a celebrity, particularly following his escape from custody in Colorado in 1977. During his trial, his charm and intelligence drew significant public attention. His case inspired a series of popular novels and films devoted to serial murder. It also galvanized feminist criminologists, who contended that the popular media had transformed Bundy into a romantic figure. Now that you know who Ted Bundy was, we will start with the rare photos of him. The first photo is Ted Bundy with fellow inmates on death row in Florida State Prison. The inmates in Florida State Prison had mixed feelings about Ted. Some people liked him, but the poor ones didn't like Bundy, who once attended law school and worked for the Republican Party in Washington State. He was sometimes harassed verbally by other inmates, many of whom are black and poor. Sometime during this period, Bundy was attacked by a group of his fellow death row inmates. Though he denied having been assaulted, a number of inmates confessed to the crime, characterized by one source as a gang rape. The second rare photo of Ted Bundy is him making a birthday cake for Liz's daughter's 5th birthday. This photo was taken in 1971, which would make him 24 or 25. Liz, Ted Bundy's ex, had a little girl from a previous relationship when she met Bundy. When Bundy was in prison, he and Liz split up. After Ted and Liz split up, he met a woman named Carol Ann Boone. They dated before his initial arrest, and got married in a courtroom in 1980 after he proposed to her in the middle of his highly publicized trial. Rose Bundy was born on October 24, 1982. Boone got pregnant while visiting Bundy when he was in prison on death row. Bundy wasn't allowed conjugal visits, so once Boone became pregnant, rumors began to surface about just how that happened and if her child was even really Bundy's. In a 1981 newspaper article in the Deseret News, Boone said it's nobody's business how she conceived a child with Bundy. The third rare photo of Ted Bundy is taken from his trial, where a lot of girls attended. According to Ann Rule in her book The Stranger Beside Me, the front row just behind Ted and the defense team was jammed with pretty young women, as it would be each day. Did they know how much they resembled the defendant's purported victims? Their eyes never left Ted, and they blushed and giggled with delight when he turned to flash a blinding smile at them, as he often did. Outside the courtroom, some of them would admit to reporters that Ted frightened them, yet they couldn't stay away. It is a common syndrome, this fascination that an alleged mass killer has for some women, as if he was the ultimate macho figure. By tacit agreement, that one front row was somehow reserved for the Ted groupies. This rare photo is Lloyd Marshall, Ted Bundy's biological father. His father's identity was never determined with any degree of certainty. His birth certificate assigned paternity to a salesman, an Air Force veteran named Lloyd Marshall, but Louise later claimed that she had been seduced by a sailor whose name may have been Jack Worthington. Years later, investigators would find no record of anyone by that name in Navy or Merchant Marine archives. Some family members expressed suspicions that Bundy might have been fathered by Louise's own violent, abusive father, Samuel Cowell, but no material evidence has ever been cited to support or refute this. The fifth and probably the most disturbing is this happy photo of Ted Bundy. This photo was taken on Taylor Mountain, an area where he would often take his victims' dead bodies to have sex with them. Not only did he have sex with the dead, he would come back weeks later and have sex with them again. He also would remove the heads and bring them back to his rooming house for oral sex. Apparently he had up to 3 or 4 one time in his apartment. The photographer of this photo is an unconnex of Ted. These were 5 very rare photos of Ted Bundy I found on the Reddit site Serial Killers. If you want to read and study more about serial killers and see some rare pictures, make sure to subscribe to that site. Hope you enjoyed the video and stay safe.